our first speaker, Geneviève Haché. You can come up. She's doing her master's in chemistry, specialization in chemical and environmental toxicology, Carleton University, and the title of her talk is Out of the Non-Stick Pan into Our Waters, PFAS and Their Foothold in Great Lakes Aquatic Life Cycles.
Hi, everyone. Like many, I love spending my summers near bodies of fresh water to fish, camp, or hike. However, there's been a concerning increase in fishing advisories, warning us of chemical contamination in fish in our lakes and our rivers. Most of us tend to brush these posters off as common nowadays, but the problem runs a lot deeper than we think. In fact, chemical contaminants don't simply accumulate in fish and dissipate after they die. Research in the Great Lakes has shown that some chemicals can transfer from female fish to their eggs, which means that this contamination is essentially generational. It also means that those fish embryos are exposed to these contaminants before they even start to develop. But what does this mean? Does it impact their health down the line? Is the long-term survival of these fish species at risk and we simply don't know it yet? We need to answer these questions as soon as possible, and that's where my research comes in. Specifically, I study rainbow trout eggs and how their development is affected by the presence of a class of chemicals called per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS for short. Even if you haven't heard of them before, you've most definitely used them. Think of nonstick pans, waterproof clothes, waterproof makeup, grease-proof food packaging, the list goes on. PFAS have been used so extensively since the 1940s that they've essentially contaminated every corner of our planet, including the blood of all Canadians and including fish eggs, and have earned themselves the name forever chemicals. And as luck would have it, these forever chemicals are toxic. They cause an increase in risk factors for certain chronic diseases like cancer or diabetes, and can even affect fertility. So what does their presence mean for the developing fish embryo? Well, PFAS love to infiltrate cells and ping-pong around to cause what we call cellular stress. And when cells respond to that stress, they leave biochemical hints that tell us how they're doing and if their defenses are working as they should. And in my results so far, I've seen that throughout development, the fish eggs' defenses come online to mitigate PFAS toxicity. But as PFAS concentrations rise, those defenses seem to become overwhelmed and almost give up. If fish eggs can't respond to high levels of stress, they could develop spine and organ malformation that could reduce their chance of survival. To investigate this further, I want to determine where PFAS accumulate in fish eggs, and if they do so in an area important to development, like the egg yolk, then this could mean more dire consequences for those fish embryos. The picture I'm drawing with my results is still incomplete, but it's clear that we must reduce the production and release of PFAS into our Great Lakes. If I can prove the threat of the maternal transfer of PFAS in fish, we can push for further policy change to protect our waters and their native species, reduce human exposure of PFAS through contaminated fish, and finally start to eliminate those familiar fishing advisories. Thank you.